Hello everybody, welcome back to another live stream, and I'm yet again playing Mario Kart World. So if you haven't seen my streams in a while, I currently have a mustache. Again, things I do for charity. And yeah, lots happened in the gaming world, so we're gonna play some Mario Kart for a bit. We're gonna chat about what's going on. The Discord's open, so if the boys decide they want to jump in and chat, the boys can jump in and chat. If they don't, it's not a problem. But yeah, so we're gonna play some more Knockout Tour. We're going to try and get to 8,000 before Chloe returns from her her full-time job she has in a different continent. Because she'll want to play this for pretty much all of December, so we'll probably do some Chloe streams. But yeah, excuse me. So the big news today is the Steam machine and the Steam controller and the Steam Frame VR headset. Crazy. Crazy. I know on one of these, I talked quite extensively. I think it was the Disney Skate episode that I talked quite extensively about my want and dream for a Steam ecosystem box. Also, I've still got a cough, so I apologise if I start coughing. But yeah, so it's a reality. It's actually real. Valve have announced a console that looks exactly like the mock-up leak of like an Xbox Series X without a hard drive that they did, if you remember, which obviously it didn't look that way when it came out, but that's what it's kind of like the Series Z or whatever they were going to call it. But yeah, cute little cube. The Gabe Cube is what I keep hearing it being called, and I think that's an amazing nickname for the console. And I hope that sticks. But yeah, really cool. It's basically a zooped up Steam Deck without a screen. It's Steam, but a console. It is the most I'm all in thing for a while for me, because Xbox has gone down a path I don't enjoy, and I've never been a big PlayStation guy anyway. So there's that. Obviously, I'm always going to have a Nintendo console because it has Mario Kart on it and Pokemon. So I have to have that. If I'm going to have one other thing, it seems like Steam is now the thing. But yeah, it's one of those. I'm looking forward to this. We obviously do a podcast every week, so I'm looking forward to talking with the boys about the Steam stuff, because I'm fascinated to see the views of, like, I'm not extremely PC based, but they are degrees of less than I am. So Pengi is a little bit more than Craig, but Craig will never. I mean, this would be the only way you'd get Craig on a PC, but I don't think Craig will get. Like, I can't imagine Craig's going to want a Steam machine. Unless it's incredibly cheap and something PlayStation wrongs him in some way. But yeah, looking forward to talking to the boys on the podcast about that. But yeah, it's cool. I think it means for me, Xbox is probably gone and I hate using the term dead because it's so dramatic, but like, I don't really have a use case anymore for an Xbox. I don't really. I was racking my brains trying to think of a scenario in which I'm like, oh yeah, I would get an Xbox, but if I wanted a physical thing that I put discs in, I'd get a PlayStation 5. And if I wanted something that plays console and PC games, I would get the Steam machine now. Game Pass is too expensive to be a selling point for me. So yeah, it's kind of this announcement has basically decided for me that Xbox will not be the third pillar anymore, and then it's just deciding whether I want this more than PlayStation, which is interesting. It's an interesting thought. So obviously I got a Steam Deck a couple of years ago, and this year I sold my Steam Deck and got a Legion Go S, and because it was really cheap, and it is just slightly more powerful than the Steam Deck. So I've got a Legion Go S, but it has got Steam OS on it, so it's effectively like a Steam Deck Pro. Like, it's got a bigger screen, slightly more powerful, more RAM, that kind of stuff. So it runs like Steam Deck levels, but like maybe a little bit nicer looking, and a few more FPS. So I've kind of been sort of delving into Steam anyway. As we'll see when we get to on the podcast and we do the end of the year stats, I track all my game stats. Like, I've gained, I think it's something like 40% on Steam this year, which is more than, I think it was something like 6% last year. Like, it is a huge increase of Steam usage, because I've been using my Steam Deck and then my Legion Go a lot more. I think SteamOS is just the easiest thing to use apart from this, which is obviously Nintendo. Nintendo makes it incredibly easy to use. Too easy. It's too simple, but you're not getting lost buying a game, installing a game. None of that you will get lost doing on a Switch, which is why it's sold so well. But I think on an Xbox and a PlayStation, it was starting to get a little bit PC-like anyway. And so now I'm kind of like, I've been playing a lot of Steam Deck and Legion OS, and it's like, well, I've got quite a decent library on there now, and it's like, yeah. And the fact that I've got a handheld already is, yeah, it kind of feels like that's probably going to be the way I do. Now, the interesting thing for me is that, as I've talked about on these things before, the plan is still to move to America. So my partner doesn't live in the UK anymore, and she's out earning money and getting a degree, and I've been slowly but surely working my way up in my job and getting experience and qualifications so that we want to move to the US. She used to live in the US. All of our friends live in the US. We want to move to the US. So I've been, over the last 4 years, I've got rid of most of my physical game collection. I don't have when I first moved back, I think it was like 18 Gusto boxes full of games, and I think I've got one box, and it is an original Xbox, an Xbox 360, and then those games, because quite frankly they're a pain in the ass to shift because they're not worth anything. So you can bulk sell 40 games and get 10 quid. Like, they're just not worth anything. So I just haven't got around to doing it. So I'm already kind of poised to almost be in a newer ecosystem, because I don't have any physical ties anymore. Because that would be the one thing that PlayStation does, is that you can buy physical games, put them in your physical console, and there you go. It's not an issue for me. I just don't have those games. So it's one of those. We tick that box away from PlayStation. Moving to a new country. So whatever's easiest and cheapest is going to be better. So I'll be moving over with my Legion Go, which will be the Trojan horse. Oh, am I going to just miss out? I am. Which is going to be the Trojan horse, because now that I know the Steam machine's coming, I am going to buy and play more games on Steam, because I've got the egg before the chicken at this point, and it's genius in a way. So if you're on the fence, like, we watch a lot of Kind of Funny we quote Kind of Funny quite a lot on the podcast. But if you were to look at the Greg Miller approach, which that he's been slowly moving over to his handheld, but traditionally has been Xbox on his handhelds. He's like, well, if I can buy Starfield on Steam, I can play it on my laptop, my PC, and this now machine, and a VR headset. It's crazy. I'm supposed to talk about the VR headset for a second. I don't really have any interest in VR. I played Chris's VR 1, and we had a Quest for a bit, me and Chloe, that we quite liked, but it had no support. This is definitely the most, like, convincing VR solution, purely because it's standalone. Excuse me. It is wireless if you want to connect it to a computer, and Steam has such a big VR library, let alone emulation and all the other stuff you can do. So it's kind of like, well, if I had any interest in VR, it would be this, right? I'm sure this is going to be hella expensive, but everything's hella expensive now. But yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating to me they announced all these devices at the same time, because then the third one is the controller. Now, the controller looks to be the Steam Deck, the best bits of the Steam Deck put into a controller. I don't like my only issue is it's not offset sticks, so it's like a PlayStation. It's like conjoined sticks, so that's probably a downside. I didn't mind it on the Wii U, on the Pro controller, so maybe that'll feel the same. But like, so you've got that as well, and then all of this works in tandem, and also it doesn't have to work in tandem, because that's the insane thing with this. I don't think, I've only watched a few videos so far, but I don't think a lot of people are talking about is that it's SteamOS. We have SteamOS now. We know what SteamOS does. So if I buy the Steam machine, the GameCube, and I want to use my DualSense or my Stadia controller, hey, guess what? It's Bluetooth. It works. Like, it just works. That's crazy. And if I don't want to buy a GameCube, but I want the controller and I've got a good PC, hey, it works on the good PC. So effectively, what Valve have said, or what Valve have done, is like, cool, the only thing we want you to do is use Steam. You already use Steam if you have a PC. And if we can get a few console players, if we've already got 3.5 million Steam Deckers, if we can get a couple million console gamers in, and then those couple million console players go, well, actually, I want this whole experience for handheld, or I'll buy a Steam Deck. I want all this experience, but VR, I'll buy the VR. Like, suddenly you've got this ecosystem they've built out of nothing. Like, they've just built out of goodwill, out of pure goodwill, and just like sticking to what they believe in like, not to get too deep, like they have just gone and they've effectively built a whole ecosystem. And Microsoft has been trying for years to get Xbox and Windows in tandem, and out of nothing, they've just done it. They just made a handheld as like a starting point, and they've just gone, oh yeah, cool. It's now this whole Steam ecosystem based around Linux, which is free and is open source. So they're not even, they'll be paying an open source license, which is very little money. And then throwing that, obviously it's PC and it's Steam, you're not paying for any online. You're not paying for a subscription. I think you can get like the Ubisoft and the EA subscriptions perhaps on Steam, but in terms of Steam, you're not paying a subscription, and it's got thousands of games that go back decades. Like, I have Half-Life 2 from 2004. I have the Castlevania Lords of Shadows games, which you can't buy anymore unless you have the 360 version on an Xbox. You know what I mean? Like, it's that thing, like Lost Planet, like all these older games. I have, and I can mod them. I can do whatever. Oh, also, like, the thing as well, again, I haven't seen anyone talk about with this, it's the C machine, and I get why not. Like, it's an emulation paradise. This thing is 6 times more powerful than the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is already like unbelievable for emulation. So if we, in theory, if we get everything we can do on the Steam Deck, so we do I don't know, what can the Steam Deck do? But Steam Deck can probably do like original Xbox, maybe some 360 stuff, like relatively well. So if you've got that, but now we can do PS3, potentially like Wii U, like obviously allegedly, like that kind of stuff, and it's all SD cards, so you can just, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like, this is crazy. I know there's people might be people watching this going, yes, Dave, that's called a PC. We've had those for fucking 100 years. Well, I'm like, yeah, cool, but like, this is a really accessible, curated way to get people into it. Like I said, I've never been a PC guy. I have a Bachelor of Science computing degree. I've never been a PC guy. The only PC game I've ever really consistently played is Football Manager, ironically, until now, which is funny that I'd get into PC stuff, and then this is the one year I don't play Football Manager. But I'm just not a PC guy. I've never been a PC guy, whereas the last 2 years I've never been more interested. And then today, I almost couldn't believe it, some of the rumors, and then when that's actually a thing, yeah, like the opportunity to pull away from ever having a Microsoft product, for one, because I hate Windows. I use Windows for work because the company I work for insists upon it, but I hate it. I don't have a Mac. This is getting recorded on a Mac now. I do not use Windows. I can't stand it. So the fact that from a gaming perspective I'll never have to do it again. There's only been very brief periods where I've liked PlayStation. I don't particularly like the way that PlayStation does business. I don't particularly like the way that PlayStation really makes games. I think their games are okay, but I don't think they're enough to carry a console anymore, because they got rid of all their studios that I like and the franchises that I like. Hey, and guess what? The PlayStation games, almost all of them are on Steam. So I can still play Spider-Man 2, and I can play Halo, and I can play Forza, but I don't have to pay for the online, and I can also play Megabonk, and I can play all these cool indie games that come out, all these Steam Next Fest games, all these ridiculous sales, Humble Bundle games, Green Man Gaming, like, it's wild. Like, it's a wild thought. I don't think it's going to take over the world. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sat here saying, oh, the Steam machine's going to sell 160 million copies and outsell the PS2. Absolutely not. But I think for me personally, the use case is insane, because it's never been this way for me, PC. So like, the fact that now we really can be in a world where, oh, I'm gonna just miss out. Oh, am I gonna just make it free? Yeah. Oh, I got 13. Oh, that sucks. That's twice in a row I've been bad. But yeah, for me, like, the use case for Steam is wild. The Steam machine is crazy. But yeah, I wanted to do a video where I actually talk about this, but obviously I've got to do all this. I'm doing a charity stream, by the way. So if you go into the description below, you can donate to a charity. All month, playing video games for charity. But yeah, I wanted to do a video on this, but the boys obviously are reluctant to do so, because obviously we're gonna poddy at some point, so we'll save the energy for that. And I'm the one that's most excited. Like, I'm the one that's like, this is it's new. It's a new hardware thing. Like, it's cool to me. I love new hardware. And we haven't had that since probably the Stadia, right? Me and Chris were really excited for the Stadia. Again, it seems silly now. At the time, I think people can understand why we were excited. And that's the last real player in the game. And now, like, Valve coming out with actual home hardware. Because let's not beat around the bush here. The Steam Deck is great. The Steam Deck is an insane value right now. And I think, yeah, it's great. So moving on from just chatting shit about Steam. And let's see about how this affects everyone. So I think Xbox, this is exactly what Xbox wanted to do. And Valve have gone out and done it early. So yet again, Microsoft are playing catch up. So what they do, I don't know. Pardon me, I don't know. They have to do this better. And clearly they're not going to do it cheaper. So I don't know what Xbox does, to be frank. PlayStation's real interesting. So they just had that Japanese state of play last night, which we will talk about in the poddy, but it was okay. But the big thing for me from it was clearly they want more Japan than they've had for a while. So sales-wise, the PS4 and the PS5, not that crazy in Japan. Because in comparison to the Switch, it's nothing. It's nothing numbers. Obviously, the Xbox is literally nothing in Japan, but the Switch One has over almost 40 million sales, and the PS4 I think is about 9. And like, bear in mind that the rest of the world, the PS4 was over 100, and you know what I mean. The PS5 sold 84 million units, and I think it's about 8 million are in Japan, which is crazy because Japan is its home country, and I think they want to claw more of that back, which they should, because when PlayStation are at their best is when they are firing on Western and Japanese tendencies, because I think Western tendencies is always about making money, and Japanese tends to be more artistic. And I'm not saying that just to be artsy fartsy, it's just true. Like, if you look at this game now, this game didn't cost 100 million to make, and will make 100 million if it hasn't already. So it's like, you know what I mean, like, that's just the way Japanese developers are. So making the Japanese only console, I think, is a great idea, and I think will really help bump the numbers, because money's tight. Japanese people, much like the rest of us, the economy isn't great in Japan, so cool. And then I think for them, it's imperative that this handheld that's clearly happening, because it's been leaked too many times to not, is very Steam Deck adjacent. And what I mean is, I don't mean a handheld PC. I mean that it complements their ecosystem. So if I buy a game on my PS5, I want to be able to play that on my PlayStation handheld. They've already started doing it with the Portal, and I think the Portals are great. I think the Portal and the Steam Deck are probably the best two values right now in if you want to get into gaming. Genuinely, I think the Series S is too expensive now. I think the Switch 2 is too expensive. But the PlayStation Portal and a Steam Deck, I think, are very well priced. But yeah, so if PlayStation do this handheld, and it's a good handheld, it's not £1,000, it's like 500 to 700, and anything you buy digitally on your PS5 or 6 will go onto this handheld. And they probably need to do it by 2027, if I'm completely honest. I think next year would be great, but I think the longer you leave it, the more difficult it is to penetrate the market. I think if they can do that in Japan, where handhelds sell incredibly well, have I just been ruined on the line here? My God, I might have, have I gone too high? Oh, that 21, that's so bad. I think they can make a big dent. I think if they put out a PS5 handheld today, I think it would outsell the PS5 within a year. And I know people would probably think that's crazy, but in Japan, obviously not in the rest of the world, but in Japan, handheld is king. They all commute quite a lot. It's a very commute. It's big cities to little smaller towns. It's all about small apartments. If you've ever been to Tokyo, the apartments are tiny compared to say, like, really need to have some good bits and bobs. Oh, am I dropping frames? What's going on? Am I connecting? What am I connecting to? Alright, sorry about that. I suspect my stream just went a bit funny. I have really good internet, just not in this room, and it's a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. But I think we're okay now. Looking at the stats, we're back. So what was I saying? PlayStation handheld, yeah. Sony needs to put one out, basically. But yeah, yeah, I'm so. I mean, to be honest, with you, all I want to do is talk about the Steam thing. That's why I wish that the boys were here. But yeah, I'm very excited. So what does it mean for me next year? So next year, like I said earlier in this little rant charity video / Mario Kart stream, we want to move away. We're going to move away. So even if it's later than we want, we're moving. I'm not staying here. Stuff's too expensive. I've been getting rid of stuff. I got rid of my Xbox actually a couple of weeks ago. My Series S, because I just didn't need it. I just wasn't using it. If I want to play Windows, I can put it on my Legion Go. I actually haven't got Windows on my Legion Go at the moment because it was a nightmare to use on a handheld. You have to use the touchscreen really. Like it just doesn't. It's just not built for a controller. It just doesn't work very well. So I've got SteamOS on it now, and I don't have it. So I don't have any Windows devices. I don't have Game Pass. I'm not planning to get Game Pass ever again. So there didn't seem a lot of point in having Xbox. If I wanted to play Ninja Gaiden or I want to play Halo, I can play it on my PlayStation. I can buy it on Steam, whatever. So that's gone. Switch 2 that we're playing on right now, I absolutely adore. My girlfriend absolutely adores. There's no way I'm getting rid of it. If it broke, I'd buy a new one. So the Switch 2, yeah, I love Nintendo. I'll quite happily admit I'm a Nintendo fanboy. For me, they make the best games. It's not going anywhere, right? So gonna have to Switch 2. Then it gets interesting. So obviously I have my Legion Go S, which for the sake of this conversation I'm going to keep calling a Steam Deck because it's just easier. And I like that. Obviously, as I said, my partner lives abroad at the moment, so I travel a lot. And when I say I travel a lot, I mean I think I've worked out since the start of the year I have taken about 75 hours worth of flights, and we're going away for Christmas, so it'll probably get to about 100 hours of flights I've done this year, and that doesn't include the probably more than 100 hours sat in an airport, because every single time I fly out of Heathrow it gets delayed by an hour, and I'm one of those people that is early everywhere, because it only takes one delay at Heathrow to take 2 hours to get through security. It's never happened. It always takes me about 5 minutes, but the one time I go tight is when it'll struggle. So I'm always in an airport for hours before I need to fly. So I've played a hell of a lot of Switch 2 and Legion Go S. I just have. Like, that's just been the way. I've been really into handheld. So because of that, when I come home from, when I'm back in England and I work on a computer all day. We use 3 screens where I work. So I tend to game in bed. So handheld, and usually with YouTube on or Netflix or whatever. So I play a lot of handheld stuff in bed. So the Legion Go S is going nowhere. The Steam Deck is going nowhere. Like it's a Steam device. So then it's really the last scenario of my gaming is the TV gaming. So when I want to sit and play games on a TV, now I don't do it very often. To be completely honest with you, I really don't play games very often. So this month, because I've been doing this charity thing, is probably the most I've sat here and I've played a game on a console screen. And even right now, this is on my PC monitor because I'm recording it, because obviously we're streaming. But like, generally speaking, I've barely finished games that have been on console this year. I just don't sit there and play. I didn't play a single minute of Pokemon Legends ZA on TV, for example. I played all of it handheld. So I don't do it very often. I have got a PS5. I've got a disc PS5 now. I just don't think I need it. Now, I'm not going to run out and sell it just because Steam have announced their thing. I'm not going to do that. I'm not foolish. But next year, because as soon as we get into, I would say Easter, I'm going to know the situation in regards to how much money I need to save and what's realistic for moving away. Like, is it realistic to do it by the end of 2026? Is it going to be summer 2027? Right? Because everything costs money. Everything costs more money than you think. I've still got to get a job in the US. It's not just a case of turning up. Like, sure, I've got my degree. Sure, I've been doing all this stuff to get to the position, to get the visa and all that. But like, I don't know. It's the simple answer. I do not know. I could move the end of next year. It could be the start of 27. It could be middle of 27. It could be the end of 27. I don't know. Right? So it's that I'll know. I think I'll know more about that in Easter. So assuming that a decision is made in Easter and we know what we're doing, I just don't see a scenario where I'm going to want to keep a PlayStation knocking around for the sake of it. So realistically, a PlayStation now, you probably get about, I'd say, anywhere between £200 and £300 trade-in for cash for a PlayStation now. I don't think you get too much value back. If you set up with some games and a controller, maybe a bit more, but probably I have a 30th anniversary edition controller I probably wouldn't get rid of, because I would intend to use that as a controller on any of my Steam or PCs or whatever, right? So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, right, I've got a bit of a backlog on PlayStation I'm playing through at the moment. When that backlog gets to the point where I no longer want to play anything on it, that is when I think potentially I would get rid of it, and that money would go in the getting away kitty. And then at that point, I have my Steam Deck that I have a dock for. I can play that Steam Deck on a monitor or on a TV. So even if the Steam Machine were to come out, say the Steam Machine comes out in Easter, it's £600 for the 512 edition. I could wait and just play my Steam Deck, and then when we've moved, I could buy it, or I could buy it and then later in that year, and then take it with me when I move, right? But because I'm already in that ecosystem with the Steam Deck that I'm using, I have kind of no pressure, and I'm constantly building and still playing in the ecosystem. So it's not like, say with the PlayStation, you kind of have to have, or Nintendo might be a better example. Like if you want to play on Nintendo, you have to buy stuff on Nintendo. You can't. There isn't a cheaper version of the Switch 2 really that you can buy Switch 2 games on and then play them on a better fidelity later down the line, if that makes sense. Because even some Switch 1 games, you can't do that. So it's one of those things, like if I've got this Switch 2, I've got this Steam Deck thing that I have now, and I'm like, for example, I have Gotham Knights and Expedition 33 on there at the moment. They don't run particularly well on the Steam Deck thing I have now. Got them in a sale. They were good value, but I'd probably want them to run a bit better for like the main game. If I wanted to play on the TV, I'd probably want it to be in 1080p, 60, whatever. It can just sit in the library. You know what I mean? Like if I play it and I don't like it, I can get it refunded within 2 hours. I'm not paying for any online subscriptions. I'm under no obligation to play anything. It's kind of what I think is the point I'm trying to make. And that's what I really like about Steam, because stuff's so bloody cheap, and old games are so apparently available. Well, Fourth isn't too bad. That if I decide I don't want to play Gotham Knights because it's not great on my Steam Deck, well, when I get my Steam Machine, it's there ready to play. Like my library's built up. Like I'm playing through Half-Life 2 for the first time. Actually, it's funny. I didn't know that all these stuff was going to get announced, and it's on my backlog challenge. So I've started playing Half-Life 2. It's great. It runs at ridiculous bloody statistics. It's a 20-year-old game, but it runs fantastic on my my Steam Deck thing. Wicked. If Half-Life 3 gets announced this week, well, I can buy it on my Steam Deck. If it doesn't run great, which it probably will, knowing Valve, then I'll play it on my new machine when I get it. Or if I get to the US and they're really hard to get, I could buy a PC, just install Steam OS on it. Which again is another thing I think people are forgetting. It's like, what this means is there'll be a officially supported desktop setup for SteamOS, which sure it'll be AMD. It'll be really similar to Steam Deck, but like, if that's supported already, we know what you can build your own. People will be building their own right this second. Now that they've released the specs, there'll be someone that's building a SteamOS or Bazite box that is exactly the same size with exactly the same stats, and there'll be loads. There'll be videos testing game performance, even though it's a custom APU. Like there'll be a CPU. Sorry, there'll be people testing stuff now, like this second. So, but yeah, that's kind of my rant. Like again, like if you've watched this far and you've watched this video and you want to talk about the Steam stuff, let me know in the comments below what you think and where you stand with Steam. And where do you stand with the games consoles in general? Like, one, are you enjoying the Switch 2? Because this is the other conversation that we keep having on the podcast. Is like, so I'm loving the Switch 2. Like, it's one of those things. It's a topic I want to cover at some point, because I really want to do a video that's literally about how the Switch 2 has legitimately, I wouldn't say it saved my year because that's too dramatic, but like, I was going for a little bit of a rough time when this came out, and it has got me through that rough time, and now I'm really optimistic and looking forward to the future. But like the Switch 2 and this game has a lot to do with it. Like I'm almost like 90 hours I think of this game now. So it's a video I want to do. But yeah, like the Switch 2 is a funny one because I think the Switch 2's come out, people have gone, oh, it's just a better Switch that has actual video games on it, like actual third-party games run really great on it. And that's what everyone wanted, by the way. That's what everyone was saying before. And it's kind of low-key being forgotten about. But I already think now, and I'm like, geez, there's like 3 or 4 games I've played on this already. And I'm like, that will be in my chat for Game of the Year. Like, I really enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed Pokemon. I've really enjoyed Star Wars Outlaws. Kunitsugai Path of the Goddess is fantastic. I need to go back to it. Fantasy Life I is fantastic. I need to go back to it. Didn't mind Fast Fusion. It's okay. Just it should have had an online. What else have I played on Switch 2? I've got the Galaxy Bundle I need to get to. Donkey Kong was absolutely fine. I just didn't really enjoy it. And again, it was the peak of the difficult summer I had. Was literally, I think, the day before that game came out, and I just didn't get into it, and I haven't gone back to it because I lost the flow I had. So that's one I'll play next year at some point. Pardon me. And yeah, I think the Switch 2. I think the Switch 2's had a really good first 6 months. To be honest with you, people forget. Like I remember the 3DS, the Wii U, even the Switch. There was not a whole lot that you could play in that first 6 months in those consoles. And they turned out all of them got amazing libraries by the end. But it was pretty slim pickings when you were playing Street Fighter 3D and Steel Diver for months on end on the 3DS. You were hoping that a Pokemon game would come. I think Black and White might have come out on the DS, and then you played it on the 3DS. And again, do we need to talk about the Wii U? And it's just general drought. I love the console, but ooh boy, that first period it was difficult. So yeah, I think the Switch 2 is doing fine. People are going to hate, right? People hate on everything. Speaking of hating, I really need to lock in. But I've been very tired. I just wanted to get like an hour of streaming in tonight. And then I'll probably sit in bed and play some more Half-Life and watch videos about the Steam machine to round out the 3 hours I wanted to do tonight gaming-wise. But yeah, don't forget, you can donate to the charity below. We've already hit our target on the first day. So it almost feels underwhelming, but it's for charity, so it's all good. But yeah, I think I'll hit 80 hours pretty easily, to be completely honest. There'll be a weekend where I just sit here and I play games for like 10 hours. Trying to think what I'm playing. So obviously I'm playing Metal Gear Solid Delta on the PS5 at the minute. That's my weekend game. I'm terrible at it. It's funny. Poor old Massive Das trying to help me do stuff stealthily, and I just can't do it. It's quite a funny watch, to be honest with you. So I'll be streaming that some more the weekend. When that's done, because I don't think I'm that far from the end. I think possibly Lego Horizon, which I picked up cheap, just because it was. I don't know. I just fancy playing a Lego game. There isn't too many that I haven't played. And it was a really good price. So I was like, and I quite like Horizon, so we'll probably play that. Then I'm not sure. I mean, obviously we're always playing this. This will get streamed quite a bit. Possibly some Mario Party with Chloe, if we can figure out how to do it online. And then I'm not sure what else we fancy playing, really. This is quite a choice. Fantasy Life might be one, and maybe the Mario Galaxy games might be quite a fun one to do, because obviously they've just had the film announcement, and I've never finished any of them, and I've never played 2, so that might be quite fun. But yeah, then I suppose, I mean, I've been talking about it this whole bloody 35 minutes, but I do have quite a vast Steam library of games I could play, which might be quite fun to play on stream, because I can just plug it in. I've got a dock, so I can just plug this into my laptop and play. I don't know what I'd play though. I don't know if I'd play some classic-y like Half-Life 1 or Black Mesa, or maybe jump into some Deadlock, which is a game I'm terrible at, but a game I want to get good at. But yeah, I've got such a big library of games already on Steam that I was thinking maybe Arkham Origins, actually, because that's one that's I don't think you can buy anymore on modern hardware apart from Steam. I think if you put an Xbox 360 disc into a Series X, it will run backwards compatible, but I don't believe you can buy it on PlayStation or Xbox anymore. But obviously you can on Steam. It's a very Christmassy game as well, so maybe at the end of the month maybe we'll play Batman Origins. And it's not a game I've played before. I feel like that was about to happen. Bean Daddy, nice. I think I might have fudged it, if I'm honest. Because that doesn't help me. No, I didn't go a single place up. Nope. That one. It's been the theme tonight. I've not been very good at all. Right, let's get on to the next race. Probably do 2 more, just because I've been talking for 40 minutes and my throat is killing me. How are we thinking about the moustache as well? It's wild how quickly the beard's grown back, but again. Right, let's see if we can get a win. We've won most of the times I've streamed this, but for some reason today, maybe we're just too distracted by all the Steam goodness, and I'm very tired. Very, very tired. I have a lot of respect for people that stream for a living and stream 4 to 6 hours a day, because I have no idea how you can do it. Because I know I'm doing it after work and I work on a laptop all day, but like, my God, being entertaining and staring at a screen for this long is wild. I don't know how. Do you remember when you were at college, probably like college age, right? And you would just sit there and play games all night till like 3 in the morning, no problem, no shot, fueled by a Red Bull, a McDonald's, and hours. So long you'd be changing batteries in your controller. Like that's wild how we used to do that. My God, it takes nothing to get yourself in trouble, don't it? Jesus. I was like, what, 3rd? 17th, I ended up there. But we got through. Let's see if we can do a bit better. Tough ball, nice. Ah. This is going to be very tight depending on what this item is. It's not great. I don't know if that's going to help us. Yeah, it should just about get us through. Nice. These water ones are always so much more difficult because it's so slow on the water. Like I literally picked the wrong route and I'm going to be knocked out because of it. There we go. Right, we're going to do one more. It's been awful tonight. It's not been great. But I've been chatting. I've been tired. Right, let's get queued up for the last game. Let's see what we can do. I've talked way too much. I can feel it in my throat. I love it. Right, let's try and get a win. You kind of want to get top 4, really, for this last race, just because my points have gone up a little bit, but I need to be getting to 7. I need to be getting to 7,000 really sooner rather than later, and I can only do that by not being terrible. Right, let's go. Wow. God. Right, so that's made us through the first one. Let's see if we can get through the second. People, boomerangs in this game are so freaking overpowered on knockout. It's wild how easy it is to use them on these long straights. Oh man, I'm so bad tonight because I've been so distracted by the Steam Deck and the Steam machine that it's the excuse I've gone for. It's the excuse I've gone for. So. Sweet Jesus. Right, I need some seriously good items here or we're in trouble. The fact they didn't take that shortcut might have screwed me a little bit, but we should be fine. Yeah, well, we're more than fine now. We're cooking with fire. Right, top 12. That's the aim now, is to just get us away from the pack as possible, which is difficult because you get screwed over so quickly. God, this is close. Made it through again. God damn it, Jerry. Oh, that's proper screwed me over. Because I was going to use my free mushrooms. And now I don't, unless there's some items here that are really going to help me out. I don't think that'll be enough. Oh, I'm going to be cutting this so fine if I make this. God, I know how I've managed to get away with that. We continue. The chaos of this game mode. I love it though. I think Knockout Tour has really grown on me as this game's developed, because online it is just such a fun mode. It's so fun to just be chaotic. I actually haven't done a race on this in ages. I did a couple when me and Chloe are in Dubai, but like I haven't really done a race since like August. But like in August, July and August, we raced on this game for tens of hours, and I suspect in December, for all the plans that we have, I suspect we're going to play a lot of Mario Kart World. I really do. Going to need a bit of luck again, I think, if I'm going to get through. I don't think we're going to do it, but yeah, so we end the night. We'll see what the points were. So if we press start on this, quick race. So it should tell us. So 6787, I don't know what that was to begin with, but it's not too bad. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this little Mario Kart World stream and rant about the Steam Machine stuff, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps. The charitable link is in the description. There will be more streams this week. I think I'll probably stream tomorrow. What day is it tomorrow? Thursday. So there'll either be some more Mario Kart or probably Metal Gear Solid, but we'll see tomorrow how I feel. But yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.